The air in Michael Langston's office felt heavy, thick with the scent of polished wood and the faint musk of his overpriced cologne. He leaned back in his ergonomic chair, a sleek monstrosity of Italian leather that screamed executive privilege, his fingers steepled beneath his chin. His eyes, sharp and calculating, flicked over me. Claire Donovan lingering on my tailored gray blazer, and sensible black flats with a dismissive curl of his lip. I stood in his doorway, my professional smile frozen in place, though inside something splintered. "Claire," he began, his voice smooth but edged with condescension, "I've made a decision about the company retreat next week at Azure Cove Resort. It's an exclusive, even top-tier clients, industry heavyweights. Your presence, well, it'd drag down the caliber of attendees." He paused, letting the words settle like ash in the air. "You're just not executive material yet. The resort demands a certain refinement." The words stung, sharp and deliberate, but I didn't flinch. I'd spent 4 years at Pinnacle Strategies perfecting that mass calm, composed, unflappable. Beyond his office, the open-plan floor buzzed faintly with the hum of keyboards and muffled conversations, my colleagues no doubt straining to catch every syllable. Michael's gaze darted over me again, as if my lack of designer labels or flashy accessories confirmed his judgment. "I understand," I said evenly, though my pulse thundered in my ears. "Thank you for clarifying." I turned on my heel and walked back to my desk, spine straight, head high. My father's voice echoed in my mind. "Never let them see you bleed, Claire. The moment they sense weakness, they'll devour you." The irony of Michael's words wasn't lost on me. Azure Cove Resort wasn't just some luxury getaway, it was my family's crown jewel. The flagship of Donovan Hospitality Group, built from the ground up by my father, James Donovan. I'd spent childhood summers there, racing barefoot across its pristine beaches, learning the trade from the staff, how to fold linens with crisp precision, how to spot a storm brewing on the horizon. Michael didn't know that, of course. No one at Pinnacle did. That was by design. 4 years ago, armed with an MBA from Wharton, top of my class, I'd made a choice that baffled my family and friends. Instead of stepping into a cushy VP role at Donovan Hospitality, I'd taken a mid-level position at Pinnacle, a mid-sized marketing firm in Chicago. I wanted to prove myself, to build something real without the shadow of my father's empire looming over me. My modest apartment in Logan Square, my beat-up Toyota Corolla, my wardrobe of practical basics, they weren't sacrifices. They were statements. I wanted success I'd earned, relationships I'd forged, free of the distortions wealth so often brought. Michael Langston, however, saw my lack of ostentation as a lack of drive. To him, I was a competent grunt, not a contender. The Azure Cove retreat? His latest move to sideline me, to remind me of my place. He didn't know he'd just handed me the perfect stage. The next morning, I arrived at the office at 7:15, the city still cloaked in pre-dawn gray. My desk was a fortress of order files stacked neatly, laptop humming, a single coffee mug proclaiming world's okayest marketer, a gag gift from a former intern. I'd barely settled in when Sophie Carter, our account coordinator, dropped a thick folder on my desk with a sympathetic grimace. "Michael wants the Grayson skincare campaign reworked by Monday," she said, voice low. "New mock-ups, fresh copy, the works. Said it's urgent." I glanced at the folder. The Grayson campaign, me brainchild, had been greenlit by the client 2 weeks ago after a grueling pitch I'd led solo. These revisions were busy work, a transparent attempt to keep me occupied while the retreat unfolded without me. "Got it," I replied, flashing a tight smile. "Anything else?" Sophie hesitated, then shook her head and scurried off. She was one of the good ones, sharp, kind, perpetually caught in Michael's crosshairs because she didn't kiss the ring. I flipped open the folder, skimming the notes he'd scrawled in red ink. Too safe. Lax edge. Classic Michael, vague enough to dodge accountability, pointed enough to undermine. At 9:30, my computer pinged with an email from Elena Vasquez, Pinnacle's newly minted VP of Client Relations. "Claire, can you swing by my office at 11? Want to dive into your approach on the Nexus Tech account. Stellar worky." A flicker of warmth cut through the morning's chill. Elena had joined 3 months ago, a breath of fresh air in Pinnacle's stale hierarchy. During last week's strategy session, she'd grilled me on my Nexus pitch, AI-driven analytics paired with old-school market instincts, and then praised its ingenuity in front of the room. Michael had bristled, his jaw tightening as she'd ignored his attempt to redirect the conversation. I gathered my notes and headed to Elena's office, a glass-walled space overlooking Lake Michigan. She waved me in, her dark eyes bright with genuine interest. "Claire, that Nexus proposal, it's brilliant. The way you've blended predictive modeling with consumer psych? I haven't seen anything like it in years." For the next 40 minutes we dissected the campaign, trading ideas with an ease I hadn't felt since grad school. No posturing, no politics, just pure, electric collaboration. When she suggested taking a bigger role on Nexus, I felt a dangerous spark, hope. Maybe Pinnacle wasn't a lost cause. Maybe there were allies here worth fighting for. As our meeting wrapped, Elena leaned back, frowning slightly. "Michael mentioned you're not joining us at Azure Cove next week. That's a shame. I'd love your take on the networking opportunities." My mask almost slipped. So Michael had already spun his narrative, likely painting my absence as a choice or a failing. "Yeah, scheduling conflict," I lied smoothly. "I'll catch up with you after." She nodded, but her gaze lingered, sharp and assessing. "Well, we'll miss you. I see big things for you here, Claire." Back at my desk, I caught Michael watching me from across the floor, his expression a mix of irritation and calculation. Elena's interest in me was a thread, clocked it instantly. By noon he'd assigned 2 of his cronies, Ethan Price and Nate Sullivan, no relation, to support my Nexus project. Both were junior to me in every metric: experience, results, tenure, but they were fixtures in Michael's inner circle, always guffawing at his golf stories over beers. Their inclusion wasn't help. It was sabotage, a bid to dilute my credit or pin any missteps on me. The monthly all-hands meeting hit at 2 p.m., and the conference room thrummed with anticipation. Michael stood at the front, practically vibrating with smug energy, while his assistant, Tara, arranged glossy gift bags on a table. "Team," he boomed, clapping his hands, "I've got news that'll knock your socks off. After our stellar Q4, Pinnacle's top performers are headed to Azure Cove Resort for a 4-day executive retreat." The room buzzed. Azure Cove was legendary $6,000 night suites, a celebrity clientele, a waiting list that stretched into next year. Michael clicked to a slide showcasing the resort's turquoise waters and cliffside villas. "This isn't just a perk," he continued, basking in the gasps. "It's a chance to mingle with industry titans. Rooms don't even start at standard rates. We've secured private villas." I scanned the next slide, a list of attendees. Department heads, execs, Michael's favorites, and no Claire Donovan. My stomach tightened, but I kept my face blank. Michael's eyes flicked to mine, a smirk tugging at his lips before he moved on. Deliberate. Calculated. A public snub disguised as logistics. After the meeting, I approached his office, knocking lightly. "Michael, a quick word about the retreat?" He didn't stand, just gestured me in with a lazy wave. "What's up, Claire?" "My name wasn't on the list," I said, voice steady. "Given Nexus just boosted our Q4 by 25%, I wanted to confirm if it was an oversight." His smile turned brittle. "No oversight. This retreat's for people who project Pinnacle's vision. Frankly, your presence would lower the tone. You're solid, Claire, but your style, those thrift store blazers, the no-name shiz, it's not Azure Cove material. Clients expect polish." The jab landed, but I didn't blink. "So it's about optics?" "It's about fit," he corrected, leaning forward. "Take the time off to work on that. Maybe hit Nordstrom, upgrade the wardrobe. The Grayson revisions are due Monday. Focus there." I nodded, retreating through a gauntlet of averted gazes. Back at my desk, I texted a number I rarely used. "Dad, we need to talk about Pinnacle's retreat at Azure Cove. I've got a plan." That night, my apartment felt claustrophobic, the city lights beyond my window taunting me with their indifference. I kicked off my flats, tossed my blazer over a chair, and poured a glass of bourbon, Dad's gift from a distillery we toured in Kentucky. The burn steadied me as I dialed his number. "Claire Bear," he answered, his voice warm but edged with concern. "What's this about the retreat? I thought you were keeping work and family separate." "That was the goal," I said, sinking onto my couch. "Until my boss decided I'm not caliber enough for our resort." Silence, then a low growl. "This guy's got a name? Michael Langston." "But Dad, don't intervene. I've built this career without you pulling strings. I need to fix this my way. He sighed, the sound carrying years of boardroom battles. All right. What's your play? Let them come to Azure Cove. I'll be there, in the presidential villa. Tell Javier to prep it, but don't tip them off about me. I want the reveal to hit hard. Dad chuckled. The villa? That's a $30,000 a night flex. You sure? Dead sure. Let Michael dig his own grave. After we hung up, I opened my laptop and started compiling evidence. Every email where Michael took credit for my work. Every meeting where he sidelined me. Every snide remark about my lack of polish. By 3 a.m. I had a dossier that could bury him. Resigning tempted me, but that was too easy. This wasn't about escapee, it was about reckoning. The week crawled by, Michael reveling in his petty jabs. Claire, we're torn spa day or yacht cruise first. Oh right, you'll be here with the photocopier. I smiled blandly, letting his barbs bounce off. He piled on busy work for new projects, all due the day the team returned. Elena, meanwhile, cooled noticeably, dodging me in halls and redirecting questions in meetings. When I pressed her about Nexus, she brushed me off. Michael's steering it now. Priorities shifted. Her betrayal cut deeper than his games. Friday arrived, the office electric with pre-retreat hype. Sunglasses and straw hats littered the break room, colleagues chattering about packing lists. I confirmed details with Javier, Azure Cove's manager and my childhood confidant, via encrypted texts. That night, Dad emailed photos of the villa's recent redesign from a college project. The glass walls framing the sea, the infinity pool bleeding into the horizon. It was my vision brought to life. Tomorrow it'd be my weapon. Saturday morning I drove to a private airstrip outside Chicago, where the Donovan jet gleamed under a cloudless sky. No thrift store blazer today. I wore a cream silk dress, minimalist but exquisite, paired with leather sandals and a turquoise pendant that echoed Azure Cove's branding. The flight attendant, Marissa, greeted me with a grin. Miss Donovan, welcome back. How's your brother doing in med school? Thriving, I said, smiling. Tell your son congrats on the soccer scholarship. The flight was a quiet cocoon. 3 hours to mentally rehearse. Javier met me on the island's airstrip, his bear hug grounding me. Little Claire, all grown up and ready to slay dragons. Just one dragon, I quipped. Michael Langston. Here's the plan. We choreographed every beat. The team's arrival at 1 p.m., my reveal, the villa assignments. No sabotage, I stressed. This isn't about ruin, it's about reset. At 12:45, I positioned myself in the lobby, half hidden by a cascade of orchids, watching Javier at the desk. At 1:03 the doors burst open, Michael strutting in like he owned the place, Hawaiian shirt crisp from its box. This, he declared, arms wide, is luxury redefined. I've stayed at Donovan Properties before, top-notch standards. Met James Donovan in Vail once, swapped marketing tips. I nearly laughed. Dad hadn't skied Vail in a decade. The team gawked at the lobby's soaring teak beams and ocean vistas, snapping selfies. Javier caught my eye, then approached. Welcome to Azure Cove. I'm Javier Ruiz, General Manager. Mr. Langston, we've upgraded your group. Michael preened. Appreciated. My assistant. If I may, Javier cut in, turning to me. Miss Donovan? I stepped forward and the room froze. Javier embraced me. We've awaited your return. Your father ensured everything's perfect. Michael's jaw slackened, color leaching from his face. Claire? Donovan. Hello, Michael, I said sweetly. Surprise. Javier beamed. Please, follow me to the presidential villa. Courtesy of Miss Donovan. The team trailed us, dazed, to golf carts that whisked us to the cliffside masterpiece. I assigned rooms with relish junior staff in the prime suites, Michael in the smallest, overlooking the staff lot. His protests died under my calm gaze. That night at a beachfront dinner, I mingled effortlessly, sharing stories of the resort's histormy history. Michael shrank, a shadow of his former bluster. The shift was palpable. Power didn't shout, it simply was. Sunday brought a twist. Javier nodded toward the entrance mid-morning. Special guest. Dad strode in, silver hair glinting, radiating quiet dominance. Thought I'd see how Pinnacle's enjoying my daughter's hospitality. Over breakfast, he charmed and unnerved in equal measure, dropping a faux bombshell about sensitive mics that left Michael ashen. Then he unveiled his real surprise. A coral restoration project, my passion since college, now a team activity. Photos of me with conservationists stunned my colleagues. Another layer peeled back. On the beach, I handed Michael my dossier. This could end you, I said softly. Or you can choose reform training, policy overhaul, my terms. He stared broken. Why spare me? Because change outlasts revenge. 6 months later, I sat in Michael's old office, now mine after his retirement. Pinnacle thrived under my lead, profits up 38%, new equity policies in place, a Donovan Foundation partnership mentoring underserved talent. A coral fragment adorned my desk, beside a photo of Dad and me with our first interns. The intercom buzzed. Your father's online, one next retreat ideas. I grinned, picking up. Some things evolve, the best stayed constant. Hey Dad, let's make it unforgettable.
If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.